Rise and shine your light in opulent solution seekers. It's your girl, the spiritual activist, coming to you with another word, message, spot of wisdom, whatever you want to call it. So, this podcast is going to be a little bit about being the good guy or being, what a lot of people in psychology say, a people pleaser. And I was just really reflecting on it because, like I said, I don't just take everything that I hear as truth, right? So I always try to reflect on it and assess and say, am I absorbing this or consuming this as my truth? Am I putting this into my belief system? Is this going to serve me and my highest good? Is this going to fulfill my soul? Is it going to shatter my psyche, my sense of self? Or is it going to heal me? Is it going to evolve me? Is it going to make me a better person? Is it going to make me take some accountability? So you just have to be able to be your own therapist, your own teacher, your own guru at times. And there's nothing wrong with having a guide. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like being able to have your own voice as well and being able to connect with that higher self. And that's what I'm here to do, help you, guide you through spiritual awakening, through those big phases in our lives, and to see it from a not so woo-woo perspective, because I really do feel like the capitalism and greed has seeped into spirituality and the spiritual community, just like it's done with the medical industry, educational industry, judicial industry, all these types of systems. And, it's almost leaving us like with nowhere to turn. Where are the people who are righteous, have integrity, have loyalty, and are thinking about these individuals' highest self and what's serving them, not what's going to leave them dependent on me and continuously fueling my pockets? And there's nothing wrong with people seeking compensation for their hard work and, for their services, especially when you're in integrity. But it's like, don't manipulate me to continue to feel like I need you for something if you know you can give me the actual solution. You get what I'm saying? So that's what I'm here for, to kind of help you see things from a perspective and give you that grounding and, help you, prevent you from going crazy about certain things, and just see it from a well-rounded, rational perspective. And I do have my spiritual aspect attached to it. I'm a very spiritual person. I love nature. I do believe in, different signs and different things in life. So my perspective is kind of just real. I don't know if it's because of my upbringing, where I come from, and it's just laid back and just chill mode, you know what I'm saying, sometimes. So I feel like some people need that ground in their life a lot of times, and that's where I come in. But yeah, it's like I hear a lot of people say you're people pleasing out of fear, not out of love, and all these things. And a lot of times we all do this. It's hard to, filter and micromanage everything you say, but I try my best. And so I try not to make definitive statements like that and saying you are people pleasing out of fear, not out of love. I can't tell you what you are doing. I a lot of times tell what I was doing, and I'm going through the journey with y'all, you know what I'm saying? So I have a very current, present perspective on things and how my mind is working as a black girl growing up, not rich at all, just, in quote unquote the hood, whatever, that mindset. A lot of the mindsets that we carry from being in poverty and struggle, I have, battling with those things and being a perfectionist. So there's a lot of paths you can take growing up in the hood, or, around that surrounding. And me, I took the road of always trying to be the good girl, the perfectionist, the one who is, more proper, who is going to be somebody, who is going to be successful, who is going to be not hood or ghetto or ratchet, whatever that is. But now I'm just being more authentic with myself. I do have moments when I am what people would deem ghetto ratchet, and that's me, and that's part of my spirit, and that's and I love that about myself. I don't hate that about myself anymore. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to change that and always micromanage myself to fit in or be accepted or assimilate to society, when I know society has never been for me anyway. You get what I'm saying? So, but I just don't believe that people please. And what you have to realize is a lot of times those statements do come from a place where it's been psychoanalyzed, and they really do make sense. And so that's what F's people head up, is that's why psychoanalysis can be good and a bad thing, because for a mind that's very palatable not, no, the palatable is another word. That's very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a word that basically means like it's moldable still. Like you can kind of form it and change it. I can't pull it up. But anyway, for a mind that's still like that, it can F your mind up because it makes sense. Oh, I can see that. And I would say something that I heard a rapper say, but I'm not going to even bring it up because I actually love this rapper. But it's some crazy stuff out there, and that's their perspective, and that's cool, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, that don't have to be your truth. And you have to really sit back when stuff starts to kind of affect your life and change your mindset and your reality. Like, bro, was that really for me? And that's why I had to stop listening to collective readings, because it was just too much noise. It was too much that could have possibly be for me. Oh, what's that message for me? Da, da, da. I'm like, and then it gets in your subconscious, whether you want to filter it out or not. And they say take what resonates and leave the rest. That's easier said than done. It's so hard to forget stuff when you're hearing it. Your mind is subconsciously recording that information. Your brain is like a recorder. It's going to pick up everything you see and do. And this is not to be scary and just stop yourself from watching everything. But I'm just saying, like, certain beliefs, when you're seeking a truth and something to empower yourself and give you hope and give you this and give you that, when you go out seeking for that, you don't really want to watch something that is geared to a mass, a collective all the time, especially like readings, because it's like, that's just my opinion. Like, it was becoming so toxic for me. It was filling my mind with so many beliefs that it was getting hard to like detach from. And I'm still at this moment reprogramming to detach from a lot of those thoughts that were put there. And it's because it was coming from a wounded energy. Every vessel, every reader does not understand, and sometimes they just surrender their whole body to spirit, to whatever these mindsets are, and they just let whatever comes to them, they speak it. And to me, that's not me. I sit back and I reject some things, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to speak on this. I'm not going to speak on that. And so a lot of people don't do that because they're a slave to quote unquote spirit or whatever. And everything that's in spirit, which is your mind, is not good. And that's what you have to have, that level of discernment. A lot of it is inner. You have to have inner discernment before you can have outer discernment. And a lot of stuff we want to blame outsiders for is really us. It's really their inner voice within us that we have been conditioned with and programmed with. You know what I'm saying? From TV, from experiences, from whatever. And so me and my husband, we always talk about these things and stuff. But, as far as me, I am what people may consider a people pleaser. But to me, it's more or less about pleasing people versus, I would say, more ego pleaser. Because to me, it's just based on my definition of what I feel like is a good girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is a programming, being good, being a good girl, good boy. And it could come from, my religious beliefs and, Christianity, and like not having sins and stuff like that. And now don't get me wrong, I am a Christian in my own right. You know what I'm saying? I'm not Orthodox. I'm not an Orthodox Christian. And I feel like I'm an unorthodox Christian because there's a lot of things that I may do in my lifestyle that may be deemed sinful or not good or whatever, or, but only God knows my heart. And no Christian or nobody can tell me who feels they're more righteous than me, more worthy than me, more holier than thou than me, because I know my heart and I know the things that I do and I know how I feel about humanity and I know my decency. So no one can call that into question. I don't care what I do. You know what I'm saying? So I just started reflecting on that and being a people pleaser. And I'm like, it's more of pleasing myself or my mind. We're a slave to our egos until we get into that driver's seat. Like I always say, we are a slave to literally everything. And I don't like to use that word lightly, like slave, but what it means is just that we are not in control a lot of the times. And, I've heard people use the metaphor like feeling like chicken in a chicken coop, with having that slave mentality, that post-traumatic slave syndrome, just feeling trapped in everywhere you turn, especially as a Black spirit, as a Black soul. We're so policed and micromanaged about everything we do to try to fit in and to try to be comfortable, to make everybody else around us comfortable with our spirits. And it's like, we don't have what we feel the success and the riches and the this and that we want and we desire and we know we're worthy of, but our spirits continue to flourish and shine, but there's constant policing on it. And so our minds is one of those aspects. That's why I say it's an inner turmoil that you have to battle first. And then you can, like, once you can conquer your inner world, you can your outer world can't even touch you. You know what I'm saying? Because really the main thing that's puppeting you is all that conditioning, all that programming, all that instilling that may no longer serve you. And like I say, I'm in between traditional and new age, I guess you could say. So I have a lot of traditional ways, and I love that about myself. I'm glad that I'm one of the last few generations that still have aspects of traditionalism. But I do understand that also the idea of sometimes you can modify things that have been traditional. Sometimes you can let in some modifications, like with parenting. I'm not 100% gentle parenting, and I'm not 100% old school parenting either. I'm somewhere in the middle. And that's what I want you guys to have the power to do, is figure out your own truth, figure out your own middle, your own balance. Because balance is a term, but balance for me does not mean, it may not be look the same as balance for you. And that's what I try to express. Because we live in a world that's so black and white thinking, there is no spectrum. The spectrum is always stolen from us. And I learned this from my great professor, Imani Shepherd, when I was going to U of H, anthropology, studying how people have evolved and whatnot. It's just that it's easier to just box people up and make them feel like this is an end all be all. This is a definitive. This is what balance is. No, I want to empower you to understand that there's always a crossroads where instead of just choosing which road to go, you can choose to stay in that cross section where those two worlds combine, where they collide, where they merge. And instead of feeling like you have to choose A or B, maybe you can combine those, and now it's A, B, or now it's C. You've made a whole new compound. You get what I'm saying? And so this is how my mindset works. And this is what has given me peace, to not force me to feel like I have to choose this or choose that and stress myself out when it doesn't fit for me. We're trying to put square pegs into a round hole. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to take other people's perspectives. And I really encourage you to look at my last 3 or 4 stories that I just posted, because I dropped a lot of knowledge that kind of builds onto this episode as well, and about the re-traumatization that we're going through because of social media, because of music that's constantly fueling us with other people's journeys. And we're taking on other people's wounded perspectives as ours. When you constantly are being sucked into other people's healing journey, you're constantly putting yourself in their phase, at their stage, when you could be up here maybe. And I'm taking that sacrifice as a guide, because I'm constantly being pulled into people's journey, because that's my point, as I'm helping people on an individual level. But I've learned to detach from the collective mindset and have my own center, my own foundation to come back to and ground to and recenter to when I feel like I've been, consumed a little bit in the mindset of those who are just starting off and who are just trying to find themselves and do this and do that, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, it's just this reflection on being a people pleaser is just my way of kind of getting an interlude into the whole idea of you don't have to take every explanation as your truth, or every statement, or every research or psychoanalysis viewpoint as yours. Because I don't feel like people pleasing is just all about fear. I do feel like it's a place of love too, because to me, I don't care if I was fearful of a person rejecting me or not. If I didn't care about this person, I wouldn't do anything for them, period. Whether you accept me or not. I have to like you to want to do something for you. To go out of my way to make this sacrifice. So there is an aspect of love there. Love doesn't always look the same for everybody. And people, throw around the word toxic a lot, because there is a lot of toxicity in, not only our culture, but in the culture of humanity as a whole, And so, I was just talking to, my husband about this, and it's just on another note, a lot of times there's things in our culture that may help prevent us or shadow our emotions, shadow our feelings. Oh, you and your feelings, or you feeling some type of way, yada, yada, yada. And it's instead of people, and that leads people to, to closet and shadow their emotions, and shatter their authentic self, which is their emotional self. We have so many bodies: mental body, emotional body, spiritual body, physical body. And a lot of times we shadow aspects of our self based on things that have been affecting our psyche and our ego. And that's why I'm all about the psyche, the soul, the ego, because based on what your identity is for that, what your ego has identified you, can affect how you receive information. And it can prevent you from being in your true self and your authentic identity. You know what I'm saying? And so, say you want to express something, and instead of expressing it, now you bottle that emotion up and you don't express, hey, bro, I really don't like how you doing this, or girl, why you always flaking on me, and why you never doing this, or you never doing that, or I feel like I'm always the one reaching out to you, or whatever. And so with that, because you can't express that, what you do instead is you become spiteful, you become petty. Oh, okay, so when they call me, I'm not going to answer them, yada yada yada, or situations like that. And so these are things that we do that bottle up and suppress these emotions instead of feeling comfortable. And this is why I always say being vulnerable and expressing your emotions is more, there's more strength and courage and bravery in that than bottling it up and acting like it don't bother you, because you don't want to be labeled as, oh bro, that nigga be in his feelings, that girl be always extra sensitive, she this or that. All of these false narratives that are put in our mind and our ego and our psyche that make us not living our truth. And I'm doing it from a place because what I've also noticed within a lot of the media and quote unquote healing and people sharing their journey is a lot of it is rooted in the negative aspect of our mind. A lot of it has this undertone of classism, like I'm better than you, or everybody. Oh, if everybody, if all the friends, if all the family, if they ain't on my energy, boo, I'm on this energy, yada, yada, yada. I'm up here, they down there. If you ain't matching this, if you ain't respecting my body, it's just so much attitude. And I'm not trying to police passion. So before you even get to that point, it's not even about that. It's just that, why does it have to be that way? To me, that is also another part of the Black mind that protects our pride and our ego as well. Because we've been through so much trauma, we have a lot of guards up when it comes to being emotional or vulnerable or sensitive. And it's honestly for our survival. And honestly, I'm not saying do away with it. What I'm saying though is it doesn't always have to be in that energy to come to healing. You don't always have to go guns blazing to heal or to address something or to express something. Because honestly, you come to me with that energy, I'm gonna come right back. Like, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not holier thou and all this and that. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. But I'd rather not match energy and be petty or spiteful. I'd rather just say, bro, we can have a civilized conversation and get to the bottom of it, or we can just dead it, because I'm not finna like waste my energy going back and forth with you, fighting, debating, you trying to gaslight me, manipulate me, play the victim card, all these things. I'm not trying to do all that. You can either take accountability or just say, oh, bro, I ain't gonna lie, I do need to work on like kind of reaching out to you more. Or, I do see that how you always are calling me and I never call you, or I'm always reaching you. At the end of the day, people's biggest excuse is, bro, I'm just going through something. Girl, I'm just going through something. I'm doing a lot of healing. I'm doing this or that, or I've been really busy with this or really with that. So am I. So am I. Honestly, the excuse is getting old. You make time for what you want to make time for. I bet you're talking to other people. I bet there's no way you're spending 24 hours of your day for the last week and you haven't talked to one person. But I reach out to you and you don't reach out to me. That is not good enough. That is why I do believe in love limits, or AKA boundaries or standards. And it is okay to love people from a distance or remove them from your life if they're not living up to those expectations or standards, especially if you've expressed it. But my point is, you should express it first instead of just running away from it, because that is another defense mechanism. You rather just exit everybody out your life, divorce everybody out of your life, because you rather do that than actually be vulnerable and express how a person is making you feel. Now, if you've done that and they're continuously doing stuff that disregards your feelings, then that's when you should take it to the next step. But my point is, become more authentic in your emotional body. in your spirit. That is empowerment. That is bravery. That is courage. To me, I feel like that takes more strength than Xing people out, not talking to them, being on their level, being petty, being spiteful, ignoring all these other types of. It's easier to do those. To me, it's easier than to be like, bro, I'm sorry, like, but I really. What do you having them heart to hearts with people? Hey, what do you expect out of a friendship? I expect this. I've had those conversations with like 3 people, and you know what they do? They ghost me because they couldn't handle that truth, and they're probably stuck in their feelings. And instead of expressing that and being genuine, they're genuine in the moment of the conversation. I don't care. I just expect this, or I just expect that. But next thing you know, don't hear nothing from them. Crickets. Because people can't handle the truth a lot of times. Yeah, I'm using a cliche. I love cliches. It's a definitive statement, but that's why I always end it with sometimes or at times, because it's not definitive when you add that on there. But a lot of times, people can't handle the truth because they're stuck in their initial reaction, which is triggered. Now you've triggered their ego. Their ego has jumped in to protect them and say, oh, this girl just thinks she all high mighty, she brand new, she on her spiritual tip. So now she want to come and tell me this and that. No, that's why I say the ego is not your best friend until you heal it. It has done a lot to protect you, and it doesn't mean hate your ego or your mind, but you also have to know when to tell that voice, you got it. Hey, you can sit this one out. You can get in the back seat. I'm in the driver's seat, and I'm not leaving anymore. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can ask for the back seat's opinion, but at this point, you're leading this vehicle. But yeah, these are just something I kind of want to drop on you guys. Hopefully it awakens you to your own power and in some aspect, some form. Like I said, follow my Instagram page, the.spiritual.activist on Instagram. And share this with anybody who you may feel like needs to hear it. But yeah, like I said, you're a people pleaser. Find a way to make it work for you. Find a way, because at the end of the day, being spiritual is all about accepting yourself, finding what uplifts your spirit, finding your identity, how you want to show up into this world, and aligning yourself with the emotions of joy, bliss, happiness, ecstasy, abundance, but also being able to not shadow yourself, but integrate that shadow. And that's part of the acceptance. As always, keep God first. Peace, love, light, and healing energies. Be open to receiving them. I love you guys. Peace out.